Welcome, Solara here. I hope you guys are doing well. I am here to do the new moon in Cancer tarot astrology report. I'm sorry that I was MIA last week. This Cancer season has been really quite heavy. Beautiful and heavy. That seems to be, there's like no in between. It's either like crazy beautiful or crazy heavy. But I'm back because we have a new moon happening tomorrow. It's happening tomorrow at 6:31, 18:31. I believe that's happening 18:31 GMT. Okay, and we're going to get into the energies and what it is I've been channeling about this, as well as the complete breakdown in accordance with the tarot. So if you're new in these parts, tarot astrology is the art of breaking down astrology utilizing both the major arcana energies and the minor arcana energies of the tarot. So the major arcana cards are assigned to individual zodiac signs, and some of them are also assigned to planets. And the minor arcana break down the signs in their Deacons, or in their degrees. Every 10 degrees is represented by a specific card in the minor arcana. Every 10 degrees of a specific sign. Okay, so we get into that here. I want to welcome you. If you're returning, thank you for being here. Thank you for your love and thank you for your support. Welcome if you're coming over from my other channel, Solara Speaks. And a big welcome if you are here for the first time. I invite you to do the YouTube thing, to like, to share, to comment, to subscribe if you're feeling my vibe. Yes, we're going to get into this. Before I get into, I have the chart right next to me here for tomorrow. Before I get into these energies, I want to direct you guys to the video I did on YouTube on my other channel, Solara Speaks, on this past Monday. And it was all about a look at the energies around Cancer season specifically. So some of that information is going to feed into what we're doing today with the new moon in Cancer. So I believe the title of that video was something like Karmic false mother receives a final death blow. And I will, if I remember, I will link it below. Okay. So I have a few notes in continuation of that, that reading from Monday. So tomorrow we have the sun and the moon both in Cancer at 24 degrees. So I want to give you a bit of a breakdown of some of the Cancerian themes that have been coming up for us to learn and to know this season. So Cancer in the fourth house energy signifies the water of the womb. Okay, so we've talked about that in the reading I did on Monday, as well as the reading I did about the full moon in Capricorn. So Cancer energy is all about the waters of the womb. Okay, so it's like the amniotic fluids, right? So Cancer energy technically is where all is possible and where the start of all maternal programming begins. I'm going to say that again. So the Cancer energy is where all is possible. Anything is possible, and it's where the start of all maternal programming begins. So the Cancer energy is connected to the divine mother energy. It's where we get all of our programming, our emotional programming comes through that maternal energy, partially because we're tuned into our emotional resonance originally and primarily in utero by our mother's amniotic fluids, okay? This is very important because the matrix is a false mother system. And I go into that big time in the reading I did last Monday, or in the downloads I shared, rather. It wasn't a reading, the downloads I shared last Monday. So the matrix comes from the word mater. It's a false mother system. The matrix works on an inversion. It's the inverse of everything that the creator, source, God intended originally for us, okay? So the way into the matrix is to sign into the contracts of this false mother system. So therefore the way out of the matrix is also through the mother, but it's through the divine mother. It is through the energy of Cancer. And when we get to the other side of that, we end up in Leo season, where we recover everything that the false mother stole from us. This is the importance of the 8-8 portal. This is why through the Cancerian energy, you recover your light body, because you exit the matrix, okay? This is really important because this new moon is this new moon is assisting us to do that in a way like it hasn't occurred in this age yet. So every Cancer season, we've had the opportunity to elevate higher. And some, but very few, have been able to exit, right? This is a grand exit. You might call it an exodus, like in the Bible. And it's an exodus because more of us are being afforded this opportunity for as long as we've done the healing work, because the planets are assisting us in doing so. Okay? So it's for this reason that this Cancer season has seen the exposure of all of the karmic mother or the false mother or the matrix agendas as it has come through mothers and the distorted feminine energies that then birthed certain energies within us that form traditions whereby we continually move farther and farther and farther away from our divine truth and from divine order. So in that other video I was talking about, I made the point that the matrix or the false mother system is designed to cause mothers to harm their children. The matrix was and is designed to cause mothers to harm their children. Because if you can get mothers to harm their children, you can set them up for energy harvesting through the family system, and then you can set them up for the grand energy harvesting that occurs on a grand scale throughout the matrix. So all of the traditions, the ways of disciplining, everything was designed ultimately to break the intrinsic and intuitive nature of the bond that should occur between mother and child, so that mother would then follow rules, traditions, the generations before, and not tune into the value of that child and find out what their true divine gifts and divine calling is. Okay, so instead program them to become a part of the matrix, which is a grand energy harvesting scheme. So right now, the reason why this season has been so heavy, right, is because these distorted feminine energies are kicking up, especially in those who are either unaware of these wounds or you know, it's dealing with the deepest, darkest roots, the root energies of all of this, because at the same time we have many timelines that have been reopened for our benefit, but then we also have a lot of timeline fuckery where timelines are being opened, exploited, and all of that in order to get us in states of confusion, so we miss our exit. And tomorrow's new moon is the main exit out of here, okay, energetically speaking. So if these energies, this false matrix system, if it can get us into energies again which are rooted in distorted feminine energies or distorted feminine ways of dealing with things, which are born from the distorted or the karmic mother templates that the matrix is founded upon, we miss our exit. Okay, don't miss your exit. Don't miss your exit. It's time to tune in right now and align yourself with the Divine Mother and her will for your life. And her will for your life is that you flourish, that you thrive, that you be full of joy, that you be abundant. You know, that's her will for your life. That's what they don't want you to know. That's what they don't want you to connect to. So these distorted feminine energies are kicking up big time for all of us. Okay, so what has been really being shown to me, and then I'm going to get into the astrology because we're almost 10 minutes in. What's been really being shown to me is that a lot of the timelines that date back to the fall of Atlantis are open, but so are the timelines all the way back to Lemuria, because this Cancer energy is about also reprogramming our waters. So we were programmed emotionally by way of our mothers mostly, and the false mother system of the Matrix. After we were programmed out of our divine truth, out of our true emotional resonance, out of true access to our hearts. And the Cancerian energy gives us the ability to program ourselves back into divine order. But we must relinquish all of those parts of self that are still in alignment with these matrix ways of really feeling more than anything, and then therefore reacting to those feelings. The Divine Mother comes in to help us learn how to, and it's not just the Divine Mother, Divine Feminine helps us to dissect and take apart and make sense of our emotions so we can put ourselves back together. Osiris style, right? What Isis did for Osiris. That's the point of the Divine Mother energy. So when we're running from the truth of our emotions, when we're projecting, when we're deflecting, when we're missing the point of what it is that we're being shown, we oftentimes are descending into woundedness instead of ascending into the lesson. That was another statement that was coming through right now, because right now a lot of us are dealing with woundings within, as well as things that are happening to us with other people that are ultimately designed to wake us up to this emotional trauma that our fields are still holding, so that we can make the choice to ascend and rise with the Divine Mother instead of descend back into another lesson. Where we are still kind of attaching ourselves to the matrix way of dealing with our emotions, or the false mother energies that are ultimately designed to keep us trapped in woundedness so we don't find the doorway out of here. So one thing my guides were saying right now to me is that we are to reject the injury and receive the lesson. Reject the injury, but receive the lesson. So be very vigilant right now. Gemini season was all about reclaiming our Christed mind to prepare us for Cancer season, where we would need that Christed mind to be able to dissect and move through the heaviness of these emotions in a way that brings honor and glory to who we are in our divinity, as opposed to who we've been programmed to be in our lower resonance or our lower consciousness, which was necessary to be a part of the matrix. So be very aware right now, because there's a lot of stuff coming up, to trigger. Gemini season was coming to play games with your mind, and Cancer season is coming to play games with your heart. And I shouldn't say Gemini or Cancer season are coming to play games. They're not. But the energies have the propensity to do that, because we're going through a grand purging, and because we're living in a system that still wants to hold on to us and utilize the energies of other beings to try to keep us stuck in cycles. That ultimately is the war we're engaging in. We're engaging right now in a war for our hearts. Okay, because come Leo season, when you grab a hold, the Cancer energy is bridging the gap between the Christed mind you got back during Gemini season and your heart, your true resonance, or your stargate that you gain access to in Leo season. And when you gain access to your stargate, you gain access to your divine resources. They come back to you because you've exited the matrix. You've left the false mother system by way of the doorway that the Divine Mother is providing for us right now. So this is one of the reasons why Cancer energy is deeply connected to so many tragedies, because people act out of their emotions, and they get in their feelings, and they don't use the logic of Gemini to get themselves out and back into Leo. That's the point of it. So this is why Cancer is a sign that is over domestic violence, racial tension, misogyny, You know, it's over all of that. So this is why it's really we have to be very careful with how we're reacting right now, and really using that Gemini, that mercurial energy, to get to the bottom of what the lesson is, as opposed to focusing on the injury or even the person. Okay? So it's through the Cancer energy that we have produced the fruit collectively. Of the false mother system, and the collective fruit we've produced is violence, is war, is dissension. Because again, it's if we are not, everything is birthed through the waters. Everything is comes through your emotional fields. It's not what you think. It's what you think and feel that creates your reality. If you have a thought, but it doesn't come into alignment with how you feel, it cannot be birthed into physical reality. Emotions, which are the waters, emotional energy is water. Emotions is energy in motion. A thought is energy, right? It's mental energy. It cannot move and multiply and become something until it moves and gains momentum. Emotional energy is like a turbine. Okay, so this is why it's so important that we fine-tune our emotions in this season, so that we are now creating what we want, for one thing. We're now being conscious creators, as opposed to being ignorant or unconscious miscreators, or beings who can easily be manifested through. Okay, because you're easily emotionally manipulated, or you're emotionally reactive. So you're creating situations in your life that you don't really want because you don't have your emotions under control. This is the point of the Cancer energy. This is the significance of this new moon. This is why everything is so intense right now, because literally this is the biggest gateway out of here that we've had to date. Okay, so let's get into it. The degrees are even showing us this. Okay, so we have the sun and moon tomorrow at 24 degrees at Cancer, when the moon is in her new state. This means it's a new chapter. Okay, we're moving through this portal and into a new chapter. And what is the new chapter? The new chapter is a new emotional resonance, a reprogramming of our waters out of the false mother system of the matrix, out of the karmic mother templates, and into our highest possible timelines, by way of the new emotional resonance that the Divine Mother has assisted us into not only recognizing, but even being able to connect to her energy to nurture ourselves back into our divinity. So this is what's opening. As such, there may be changes coming forth for many of you in your home life, in your domestic situation, in the way you mother if you're a mother, and most importantly, what this is ultimately opening up for us is a new way to mother ourselves. So we are leaving behind the overly harsh energies of the karmic mother templates that always were, very judgmental and critical, because there was so much insecurity around it, because it was its main focus was getting us to fit into boxes that weren't designed for us, because that is the nature of the matrix. So now we're learning how to have this deep compassion for self, and how we mother ourselves and our inner children, and therefore how we relate to one another, and how we, if we have children of our own, this is the point. This is how we are beginning to seed these new earth relationship dynamics, because if you don't have such deep compassion for yourself and your own wounding, then you're not able to recognize it in other people when they're wounded. You just are going to react and think it's all about you, right? And it never really is. It never really is, right? It's always people who are treating us in ways that aren't right. It's always because in some way they're hurt. And most of the time you can almost always trace that hurt back to inner child wounds, and back to issues of attachment styles. So that's another thing that the Cancer energy is here to teach us and to move us into. Brand new, what they call attachment styles, which is really important, that we learn how to honor ourselves, but still honor one another, but not get in situations where we are seeking healing or something from someone else that we're not willing first to give ourselves. Because then we enter into these dynamics that create more woundedness because they're codependent in nature. And the codependency is ultimately what creates the energy harvesting cycles. So we're breaking out of all of that through this gate that is being opened for us through this new moon. So the 24-degree mark is, astrologically, it's a degree of Pisces. And as you probably know, Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac wheel. It is the 1818 on my clock. It is the sign through which we leave the matrix also on the zodiac wheel, just in a different way. So there are different opportunities to exit the matrix. That's why we have so many what would you call them? So many assignments or tests, because every exit requires that we do something different, if that makes sense. So I won't get into the Piscean energy too much, but I will say that the Pisces energy is very connected to the 12th house, which is all about karmic situations, karmic relationships. The 12th house also, Pisces and the 12th house rule over prison systems and imprisonment. But at the same time, the evolved energies of Pisces is over spiritual liberation. It is the most emotionally evolved sign of the entire zodiac, of the water signs for sure, and of the entire zodiac, because it is the most mature sign. So even just through this 24-degree mark, we are being shown that this gate is, we enter through this gate when we've reached a certain level of emotional maturation. And the emotional maturation is being bolstered and boosted through our ability to connect with the divine mother, in order to nurture ourselves back into our divine truth, back into divine alignment, back into who we really are, back into our Aries energy, or our I am identity, who Source says we are. Okay, so the 24 degrees, also you can break it down with the 2 and the 4. It can be broken down and you can say that's the High Priestess and the Emperor. There is an energy here that is getting ready for God to return. And when I say for God to return, I'm talking about your God self to return. It's the return of you sitting on your own throne. In order to enter into the matrix, there's also the rise of the divine masculine, because the masculine energy must also come through the feminine energy. It's birthed through the feminine energy. It's why in the tarot, it's the Empress and then the Emperor. The Empress births the Emperor energy. Or, in the minor arcana, it's the queens and then the kings. The kings come through the queen energy. So this is what is happening now also. Through this divine mother energy that's opening up this gateway to help us exit the false mother system of the matrix, is helping also the divine masculine energy to rise. But with the High Priestess, it's not something that necessarily is happening very obviously, but it is happening intensely and intently. And I say it's not happening very obviously because it's the High Priestess energy. It's still happening, almost subterraneously, but it's definitely occurring, right? Not for nothing, the 24, the 2 and the 4, when you put it together, that's a 6. That speaks again of divine contracts. We entered into a gate, and it wasn't the gate for the new moon in Gemini. It was a gate that was leading us back to the garden, back to Eden, by way of that lover's energy, the Gemini energy, right? Which is all over divine contracts and our ability to return to Eden or to exit the matrix. And it's also about the twins, or twin flame situations, if that's what you want to call them. I don't like that name at this point. But we meet the 6 again. It's 6-6 energy, which again is an energy of balance, right? So it's showing me also that this new moon is a gate, another checkpoint to Eden. It's another checkpoint to Eden. So the first gate, the new moon in Gemini gate, the first checkpoint was, is your mind right? Is your mind in alignment with divine order and divine truth? Is your mind in order with your Aries energy? Is your mind in alignment with your I am truth? And now this Cancerian energy is, the new moon in Cancer are the emotional waters that grow the energies of your mind, are they intact? And then come Leo season, the new moon in Leo, is your heart right? Because if your heart's right now, your stargate can open and you can have it all back. Is your heart right? Yes? So we are at another checkpoint. In other words, we are at another checkpoint. And the way through is if we have dealt with grace, with all of the emotional shit that's been coming up, if we've been able to deal with it in the energy of compassion and in the energy of the Divine Mother in order to rise and ascend, or have we fallen back down into, energies of being judgmental or critical or hard on ourselves or repressing or suppressing or projecting or being passive aggressive? Have we risen into emotional transparency? Are we being real with how we feel? And are we dissecting and getting to the bottom of why, or are we still running away from it? Yes? Okay, what else? So that's another thing. The sun and the moon in Cancer, that in the tarot is the Chariot. So this is all about how we move forward. The Chariot card in the tarot is two sphinxes. There's a black sphinx and there's a white sphinx. It's difficult to say. So the white sphinx represents your masculine energy, but it also can represent, your light. And the black sphinx represents the divine feminine energy, but it also can represent your shadow or the void, right? And the Chariot cannot move forward. You cannot get your light body back, cannot move forward if you are still at odds. If those parts of yourself are at odds. In other words, if you haven't come into the fullness of union through the Taurus energy, which is the Hierophant, that's the inner union energy, or also it can be union with another, but it's the inner union energy that then when you're able to procure that, then the Gemini energy gives you the contract. And when you're given the contract, then you're being seen, can you move forward now with the contract? Can you move? It's one thing to come into union with self, but when you start being given divine contracts, all of the work that you still have left to do that you couldn't do outside of the contract starts to come up again to put you in a higher state of union. And so the Chariot comes to see, are you still in alignment with the Hierophant energy? Are you still intact? Are you still in union? Or are you too much in your shadow? Or are you bypassing the energy of your shadow and too much in love and light? Or are you taking on too much of other people's shadow energies? That's another theme that's been coming up. Have you relinquished the need to carry other people's shadows and judge yourself based upon another person's shadow energy, which is what many of us did in the Matrix, because a lot of us were disciplined out of the shadow energies of our mothers. And we took them on as if they were our own voice, as if they were our God. And when I say our God, like a lot of the time, the voice that you think you hear about yourself is oftentimes the programming you've received from your mother or from your father. But because we're dealing with Cancer energy, we're going to focus on mother today. So, have you relinquished those shadow energies? And then, forget mama. Because after that, we then begin to choose partners romantically and even platonically, and even the work that we do. We choose voices that mimic that shadow energy. Have you gotten rid of those shadow energies? Are you listening to the truth of who you are? Are you listening to sources' instructions for you? Or are you trapped in shadow thinking? Okay. So the minor arcana card for this 24-degree mark of Cancer is the Four of Cups. So this is where Cancer energy comes and it kicks us in the ass. Because right after Gemini season, it's really tough, right? We finished Gemini season with the Ten of Swords. Now we got all of these swords and we can use them now to protect ourselves and to be sharp-witted and to use our Christed mind to make better decisions about how we think about ourselves and others. And so then the Two of Cups comes along, right? That's the first decan of Cancer. And things feel good because now we're relieved of that, the psychic energies, the severe psychic energies that we had to battle through Gemini season. And it feels good. But then the Three of Cups comes along in the second decan. That's the interference that comes to either bless the Two of Cups or to tear it apart. And then depending on how we dealt with that third energy, the Three of Cups, which is ultimately always a cup of healing, whether it's interference or it's a blessing, it's all the hand of God, right? So then come the Four of Cups, we've got another cup now. But what does that cup hold? What does that cup hold? And that's going to be dependent upon, again, how we dealt with the second decan of Cancer. How did we deal with when the third cup came in to try to rock the Two of Cups? So in other words, that might have played out for you externally. You might have come into a union at that time, but most importantly, it's all about inner union. Right? So when you've come into this place of this higher level of inner union because you've overcome all the mental fuckery that was meant to destroy you and tear you apart in Gemini season on the one hand, but divinely was meant to help you rise into your Christed mind, you gain a higher level of union within self. And this is why it feels so good, the Two of Cups. But then life starts to happen and it's time to go up again, right? It's time to reprogram the emotional waters that are multiplying your mental energies. So then you have that moment of respite during the first decan of Cancer season, the Two of Cups, and then you get the energy of the third, or the third wheel, or the third cup to kind of stir your waters up a bit, to purge you. To purge you so that the waters that you are now programming, your emotional truth, is in alignment with your Christed mind. So that come Leo season, your heart can rise into that position too. It's the rising of the sun, the rising of your Christed energy, the reclamation of your solar plexus. So now we're in the Four of Cups and we're looking at all of these cups and we're just like, well, what are we going to do with these cups? There is this energy, the Four of Cups is an energy of trying to decide, what am I going to keep and what am I going to lose now? What needs to go? It's either going to be the tainted energies within, or the energies that are now tainted because they don't match your Christed mind that you've gotten by way of Gemini season. So it's either going to be you abandon that energy within, or you abandon the divine contract that was given to you through the new moon in Gemini for graduating through that energy. Which one? That's why that person's sitting down, like looking miserable, trying to decide. Push the cup away or to receive it. Receive it as a cup of blessing and get rid of that which hasn't, which might be familiar, but hasn't created the reality you've wanted or we've wanted, or hold on to it and have to go around the circle again. So, Mercury. Mercury is at 12 degrees Leo. We're in Six of Wands energy. Spirit is telling us very loudly how we win this battle. But the thing about it is, as loud as the message might be, because it's Leo energy, it's bright, it's shining, it's there. The message is there. But can we get out of our feelings to receive it? Can we get out of our feelings to receive the cup of blessing? Can we reject the injury and receive the lesson? Because if you are holding on to the injury or what you think someone's done or somebody did to you, and that's a reason to hold on to your distorted feelings, which are really connected to, that matrix emotional programming, then you're not going to hear very clearly the message. The message is it's not going to be as bright because your waters are still murky. It's like being under the water, and you can see the sun, but the deeper you go into the waters or the murkier the waters are, you can't see it very clearly. The sun is here. It's talking to us through Mercury. Mercury is spirit. Mercury comes to give us our divine instructions. Mercury is also here conversing with us about the recent transit that Mars made through Leo and Venus still moving through Leo. And it's also getting us ready for when the sun goes into Leo. It's also talking to us about Lilith being in Leo. Mercury is giving us our divine instructions. It's telling us, it's reminding us of all the things that we've overcome through this Venus and Leo energy. The connection with, rising into reclaiming our joy and our pleasure by way of letting our inner child be free. That's the Venus energy. And the Mars and Leo energy was all about fighting for that right, for the inner child. And Mercury's like always coming to help us remember the lesson or help us to further instill the lesson. And this time Mercury is moving through Leo ahead of Leo season because we must be ready ahead of time. This isn't like sometimes Mercury comes in after the sun has been in a sign, and sometimes it comes in before. It's important wherever it comes in to know it's either preparing you for something or it's helping you to make sense of what has already passed from the previous cycle. So for example, Mercury, I think, came into Gemini when Gemini season was closing. It was coming to help us close out Gemini season and give us a recap, because we had to be connected to that energy too, because it was mental energy, mercurial energy. But now it's coming in ahead of the heart lesson. Are you ready? And everything's helping us get ready. This is literally why we've had Venus and Mars in Leo, and we've had Lilith in Leo. It's been here to shake up all of that dense, stubborn heart programming that was made possible because our emotional resonance was tuned into such a low vibration. So literally, we've been being helped for months. Gemini was helping our minds come into alignment with all of that. And Mercury's at 12 degrees. So 12 is the hanged man. Yeah? So in the tarot. And it is another degree of Pisces, astrologically speaking. So we're learning, the things of the old age that didn't work, that we're being asked to let go of. We're being asked to relinquish. We're being asked to now look at things the right way up, right? That Mercury in Leo is also speaking at that 12-degree mark. It's showing me that this new moon is coming to bring justice for all the ways that this matrix system has hurt our inner children and has hurt children. It's not going to be an instant thing. I mean, it might be for some of you. That Mercury energy is fast moving, but it's assisting in an energy that's already been rolling and is only going to increase over time. This justice that must come for all of the crimes against humanity, which at the crux of it is the crimes against children, because the matrix is made possible by being like constantly wounding children. Whether it's wounding children and then exploiting the inner child, or literally through the trafficking and the abuse of children. And all of that must be dealt with. But nothing is dealt with externally until we deal with it internally. As above, so below, as within, so without. As we stop abusing our own inner children, that's when these energies of justice, when we bring justice to ourselves, our own inner children, for the way that they've been treated and that we've allowed them to be treated, as we reclaim our thrones of divinity and become the divine father and the divine mother our own inner children need, the justice in the real time in the matrix rolls out too. You see, so many people are sitting down waiting for things to happen in the external, for justice to come, but they haven't brought the justice within. Until you reclaim the glory of all that was stolen from you by reclaiming it for yourself and living in ways that bring justice for what occurred to you, and not by the way you deal with other people, but the way that you esteem self. Until you do that, you don't see the change externally. But Mercury's here to help us, give us the lesson, 6 of Wands energy. This is how you become victorious in these energies. Can you get out of your feels and hear me? I'm showing you the way out. I'm lighting the way through this gateway, through this next checkpoint. But you're not going to receive my instructions for as long as you're still in your feels, in a way where you are disconnecting from the lesson and only holding on to the injury. Because that's the Cancerian energy in its shadow. The Cancerian energy in its shadow, and I know this, I have a lot of Cancer energy, I get this, yo. The Cancerian energy in its shadow wants to run away. and hide in its shell and feel sorry for itself and be the victim. That's what the Cancer energy likes to do in its shadow. The Leo energy is roaring, Cancer, we're not doing that today. Come on out and play. Come on out, let's play, Cancer. Let's talk about this. What are you feeling? Let's get you in alignment with the truth of your heart. Let's get you back into joy. And the Mercury energy is here to help us with that, right? So then we have Venus. She's moving through the end of Leo, right? And then she's going to, I think she's going to enter Virgo just a tiny bit. And then I think on the 22nd, is 22nd, right? That she starts to move backwards through Leo again. This is how important this Leo energy is right now. The inner child, the connection to your heart, the reconnection to your joy. And Venus is here right now. It's funny because the 28 degrees is the 7 of Wands. So it's more sun energy and it's more protecting self, protecting the inner child. But what are we protecting? Well, through the Venusian energy, we're protecting our right to be. We're protecting our right to connect to our pleasure, to our joy, to our creativity, to our abundance, to what makes our lives beautiful. This is what this energy is helping us to do. And the Mercury is giving us that lesson too. But if we're stuck in our feels through the Cancer energy because of the injuries, then we're missing out on the point of all of this, which is to reconnect us to joy and beauty. So we have Mars and Virgo, making things real interesting. Because Mars, when it was moving through Leo, was fighting, was shining a light, on all the ways we needed to stand up for our inner children. And it was with Venus in Leo. So it was helping it was helping us to connect by way of the Venusian energy to our beauty, to our pleasure, to our joy, and to our right to feel that way intrinsically. And now it's moved into Virgo and it's getting a little bit more serious. Okay, it's time to fight now and to bring this into reality, right? So it's in 4 degrees Virgo, which is the 8 of Pentacles. Time to sit down and get to work. Enough play. Time to get to work, which is really important. It is, but it's also equally important not to lose the frivolity of Leo energy too, which can easily be lost when the Virgo energy moves into its shadow. I have a lot of Virgo too. Virgo, Leo, and Cancer energy. So I know, and I'm a mother of a Virgo sun and a Cancer sun. So I get these energies. I get how they play out in both their evolved and shadow state. And they've been some of my greatest teachers, in all truth. They've been some of my greatest healers. So this 4 degree also is 4, which is connected to the Emperor energy. So it's all about this Mars in Virgo energy through this new moon gate is all about setting the foundations of protection. Setting the foundations even to produce routines, new routines that support this energy where we are living in ways that connect with our joy and where we are living in accordance with the Divine Mother principles, as opposed to the karmic or the false mother principles, or even the distorted or karmic masculine principles, which of course are born by way of the karmic mother, false mother energies too. So Jupiter is at 11 degrees Taurus. And I think this is where I'm not going to go through everything. I'm going to take a look at the nodes very quickly, and then I'm going to finish up. Jupiter is at 11 degrees Taurus. There's a balancing that's happening as the nodes leave Taurus and Scorpio. There's a balancing that's happening as we expand our view on our own value, and we create a new value system that again begins within. The New Earth financial system is based upon your internal value system. It's based upon the frequency you carry in accordance with how much you value yourself and value others. I talked about this a lot about a year ago, about how there's so many people out there who are wanting to be divine and connect with their divinity, and they don't seem to realize that you cannot, when you are in an earthen vessel, you cannot connect divinely until you connect humanely. This is the point of the age of Aquarius. Until you develop a heart for who you are as a human and the rest of humanity, it's almost impossible to reach certain levels of divinity. And this is all about the learning of a new value system. And your value system comes by way of your I am truth, your Aries energy, and all of the resources you've been given, that the Leo energy, when you enter into your heart's truth, when you enter into your joy, when the sun returns, the return of the sun is every Leo season, 8-8 portal, you access that value, second house, Taurus energy, you access that value through that energy. So in other words, whatever you decided or whoever you decided you were in Taurus season, that's the value. That's what you're going to get come Leo season, for as long as you have either, in accordance with your thoughts and your feelings. So either you've talked yourself up since that time, you've talked yourself into who you believe you are, you've talked yourself out of it. It doesn't matter. Either way, come Leo season, you will start to reap the rewards that reflect your Taurus energy, your Taurus field. Your Taurus field is all of your energetic bodies. Yes, so Jupiter at 11 degrees Taurus, there's a great balancing that's happening within. And the balancing is happening within because your mental and emotional fields are also being balanced out at this time through this Cancerian energy and through the Gemini energy uniting. So 11 degrees Taurus is also 6 of Pentacles energy, another card of balancing. But it's also the card of when things start to be 1844 on my clock, when things in real time, it's Pentacles energy, start to be given out in order to bring the balance back. So again, it's getting people ready. It's getting people ready for rewards. But your reward is in accordance with your self-value. And the way you value another person will always be a reflection of how you value yourself. Hence the reason why this Cancer season, we have been being given the opportunity to reprogram ourselves into the compassionate nature that we've lost for ourselves. And therefore, we're not able to give to others. Yes. The Jupiter energy is also, the Taurus energy. The Jupiter energy is the Wheel of Fortune. So it's the way out. The Wheel of Fortune is your way out of karma. It's your way out of suffering. It's how you enter into Dharma. It's how you exit the matrix. And it's telling you that the door out right now is through the Hierophant. It's through inner union. It's through your value system. Okay, so finally, let's take a quick look at the fact that the nodes have switched. I think the true nodes switch on the 17th, which is, it's tomorrow. I think the true nodes switch, but I forget what it's called. I forget. The nodes switched on the 13th, right? There was a nodal switch. So some astrologers would say that the nodes entered into Aries and Libra on the 13th, and other astrologers will say, well, the true nodes are entering on the 17th, which is the same day as this new moon gate or security checkpoint that is opening up for us to once again exit the matrix based upon our ability to retune our emotional resonance out of the karmic mother energies and into the divine mother truth. And so either way, the nodes will start at the same place, and that is at 29 degrees. And guess what 29 degrees is? It's a degree of Leo. Leo in the his house. This is the return of the sun. This is the rising of your sun, the reclamation of your inner child, the reclamation of your solar plexus, the reclamation of your own divine will over self, the reclamation of what my guides like to call your divine gold print. So your divine blueprint is connected to the Taurus energy too. It's connected to the throat chakra, the fifth chakra, the fifth dimension. That's your divine blueprint. It's your ability to live your truth, the truth of who you are divinely, who you came here to be in this lifetime. That's your divine blueprint. It's just the instructions and your ability to align with that. The divine gold print is then when you get everything you need and you can live it out in real time. So even the nodes are supporting this move towards the 8-8 portal into Leo season, where we recover our hearts and we have access to our stargates if we've done the work, and we get back our Taurus energy. We get back the divine blueprint in full to live it out. We get back our divine resources. We get back our ability to live authentically and in our truth. We get access to the fifth dimension. So in terms of tarot energies, this North Node moving into Aries is again the rise of the divine masculine. This is the Emperor, babies. It's the Emperor, but it's also the Fool. It's the Fool. So again, we have that energy of the child, you know, the rising of the child and the rising of the Emperor. But we also have the ability to jump off of the cliff. That's the Fool. Are you going to jump on up out of here? Or are you going to sit down and sulk and be in your feels? You know, and connect to those old energies. Are you going to take a leap forward out of here? And not for nothing, and I've talked about this in other, I think probably when I was doing Daily Alchemy, you know, I talked about how this energy of the Fool is also an energy of suicide. We are entering, and I don't mean to be funny about this, but we are, as the nodes enter into Aries and justice and balance is rolled out in real time, there are many taking a leap of faith, but there are many who are taking a leap off the cliff because they know there's no turning back, and they don't want to deal with the earthly and material consequences of what they've done. So don't be surprised if you start hearing more about that over the next, 18, 19 month cycle through the nodes until 2025. That might be a big energy. As more of us leap forward and bring balance back to the planet, more who have been exploiting us are going to take leaps out of here. But yes, the Emperor energy, the rise of the divine masculine, the Libra energy, the South Node is coming, is bolstering that with the justice that must now come. It must now come. It's overdue. It's overdue. And the 29 degrees is 4 of Wands. This is the setting of stable foundations. And it begins in the spirit with the 4 of Wands. But once it's set in the 4 of Wands, the only way it can stop coming forth is if we stop it with our minds and our emotions. So the 4 of Wands is like the divine decree. It's been sent out. Are you going to align your mind and your feelings so that it comes into reality in the way that it's set out, or are you going to push it out of your fields and send it back? The 4 of Wands is the card of also home and family. So it's very much connected to this Cancerian energy that we're leaving now. We've got 4-4 energy going on here too. The 4 of Cups in Cancer with the Sun and the Moon, and the 4 of Wands with Aries, and we've got the 4 of Swords with the South Node in Libra at 29 degrees. Certain things are being put to rest now, especially because the 4 of Swords comes, you know, it's after the 3 of Swords. The nodes go backwards, but at the same time, the 4 of Swords is still that energy of recuperation and recovery. And then when we enter into the 3 of Swords, it's going to be the balancing of the scales for all of that energy that's been put out towards us and towards humanity. And a shout out to the dragons, because Cancer season is all about the dragon energy. The dragons of the ley lines, which are connected to our, you see, and then I'm gonna stop. The matrix system had to keep us in low emotional frequencies because it fed its own grid, and it fed its own false grid through certain entities that it sacrificed to. But there are true dragons of the true grid lines of the earth that have been coming back online. And the more we rise into our divine truth and we alchemize these emotional energies that have ultimately been fodder and feed for the false grids of the matrix, the more we're actually feeding the dragons, the true dragons of the ley lines. And this is part of how we're helping to bring the earth out of these enslavement templates and out of this false mother system. So the dragons are here supporting us throughout all of this, and we support them when we heal. So I think that's all I'm going to share today. I hope that this report, this tarot astrology breakdown, was helpful for you guys. Please don't get stuck in your emotions right now. Reject the injury, have compassion for yourself and others, and receive the lesson. And that does not mean you move into the shadow energy of Cancer and you let people walk all over you. That's not it at all. Because the evolved energy of Cancer knows how to balance all of that, knows how to have respect for self and protect self. It has a very maternal energy. It has a very healthy maternal energy in that it can display huge amounts of compassion and empathy and help you work through your emotional blocks without sacrificing self. So this is what we're learning right now. We're learning how to have such profound compassion with ourselves and others without sacrificing ourselves. That's how we learn new attachment styles. A lot of what we've been doing is getting our needs met by sacrificing ourselves or sacrificing others. That's how the matrix stayed alive. And this Cancerian energy is showing us the way out. And the way out is through healing ourselves and healing our waters and then taking back our waters. So, yes, that's all I'm going to say for today. Really great thing to do. Ground yourself in water at this time. I've been doing a lot of that. Salt baths, working with clays, muds, crystals, waters, if you have waters near you, going to them, rivers, oceans. And even if you live near them, healing them, speaking words of healing over them too, going and speaking light language over them or doing, Reiki over them. Because as we heal the earth, we heal ourselves, and as we heal ourselves, we heal the earth. We are one and the same. We are one and the same. So if you would like to know more about who I am and my services, etc., my information is in the description box below. If you would like to donate to the channel or buy me a cup of coffee, my information for my PayPal is always below. Yes, I think that's it. I wish you guys love, joy, peace, stability, clarity. It's so important right now. Clarity of mind and heart, peace. Because a lot of these energies want to come to rock your boat and take your peace. And that's another thing we need to learn. We need to learn how to find peace within in the midst of the storm. Also, in the midst of our own emotional storms. I wish you every beautiful thing under the sun that ultimately already should be yours. It is yours divinely, and we're getting all of that back. So yes, happy new moon in Cancer. I'll see you again soon. Until next time, be well.